And welcome back to What If. So this was actually going to be one of the Pokemon videos, but time just got away from me today. This is a quick What If I can do. So honestly, the two Pokemon My Hero What Ifs are going to be tomorrow and Saturday respectively. But instead, I figured I could get this one done in less than 10 minutes, so that's what I'm going to do. And this one comes to us from Cutie Kitten 1. I believe it's Cutie Kitten 1. Yeah, Cutie Kitten 1 and I Member. I just watched the Member Berries episode recently. What if Yugi never lost Exodia? Now, for those of you who remember, I haven't watched Yugi in a while. Technically, Yugi's deck throughout the majority of that series isn't his deck; it's his grandfather's deck. Remember that Grandpa Moto gave him his deck to fight Kaiba, and that's technically the deck he's been using the whole time. But anyway, so Weevil, being the cheating little bastard that he is, threw Exodia into the ocean. Joey tried to get the pieces. He only got 2 cards. So what would happen if Yugi didn't lose Exodia? Let's just assume, for instance, that Joey had gotten every piece of Exodia and got it back to Yugi. Would that have changed anything drastic? To be specific, would that have given Yugi an edge in, say, the battles that he actually lost in this series, which were a couple, or would it have actually caused him to lose? Now, you may ask the question, why would it have caused him to lose? Well, the answer to that's actually very simple. The pieces of Exodia take up 5 cards in a 40-card deck. That's taking up an eighth of the deck. So, all they're doing is sitting in your hand. The Yugi would theoretically have to design the deck at least somewhat to involve getting Exodia into his hand. He'd either have to make it an Exodia deck ultimately, or it would just be a side piece of the deck, or he'd sideline the cards either way. I will say that against most of his opponents, I actually don't think it would matter that much. Honestly, though, I think it would actually hurt him in the fight with Kaiba because, again, and I don't mean evil Kaiba that, he banished the shadow. I mean the fight in Duelist Kingdom with Kaiba. Mostly because having the Exodia cards in his hand is going to basically limit his chances of actually beating Kaiba. Yes, the Exodia is the thing that could theoretically beat him. But again, it's just almost like, for instance, he might not have Karibo in his hand. He might have an Exodia piece. He might not have Dark Magician in his hand. He might have an Exodia piece. Celtic Guardian, Monster Reborn, all the cards he was using, essentially, he'd have an Exodia piece maybe. And those are taking up spots. Honestly, I feel like the only situation in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh series, I'm not joking, and I mean the entire series, filler and all, where having Exodia in his deck would be useful would possibly be with against Pegasus, because Pegasus would actually be under pressure knowing the Exodia pieces he already has in his hand. Other than that, though, honestly, I think Yugi would just kind of sideline Exodia after a while. That's my honest opinion. He might try using it for a little bit, but find that it just doesn't gel with what he was doing at the time. So ultimately, I think he would just kind of forego using Exodia after a while. Because remember, Yugi's deck has changed many times over the course of the series. His style has evolved. The cards he uses evolve. So ultimately, I would say, yeah, it wouldn't really change anything. In fact, it would actually kind of hinder his playstyle a little bit if he kept Exodia in the deck and not made it an Exodia type deck. So there's like Exodia versus Exodia, for instance, that would be hilarious. If he did decide to change to an Exodia type deck, then yeah, he's probably almost certainly going to win the majority of his games because he's the king of games and he can almost always draw the card he needs. Like, would he win against Raphael in the Awakening the Dragons arc? An arc that a lot of people I find don't like that much. I really like the Awakening the Dragons arc. I'm not sure why people really get on the case of that very much. It's filler, but still, I think it's pretty solid. Actually, I realized that there was a couple of moments in that duel where Yugi drew like massive amounts of cards and stuff like that, and had redraw new hands, stuff like that. Yeah, I actually think he would have beat Raphael in that first duel. Probably wouldn't even have to use the T-Level Calculus. So there's that, which actually then, for that sake of that arc, means that Yugi's still there. He probably is able to actually fight darts on a more even keel at that point. So yeah, ultimately, it actually might help him out a little bit to have Exodia, if he had it in his deck, mind you. Ultimately, though, yeah, I don't think it would actually change things that much, if any at all. But it's just my opinion. What do you think in the comments below? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy, though. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hit that bell if you want notifications, ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Super Magic, what if, anything to do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching. See you next time.